blast wave from the ascending dreadnought knocks me violently into the toxic sludge. Boiling mud splatters across my cracked visor. I wipe it away with a gauntlet caked in alien blood. High above me, the atmosphere ignites. 3 massive extraction vessels punch through the thick gray cloud cover. They leave a trail of blinding white fire that scars the sky. The deafening roar of their thrusters vibrates in my teeth and rattles the bones in my skull. I watch the blazing engines shrink into distant stars. They are gone. The entire 7th Fleet is gone. My internal comms unit spits only violent static. I tap the side of my helmet, but the dead air remains. I am completely alone on the surface of Acheron Prime. The extraction coordinates were a lie. Commander Vance sent my squad into the deep black trenches to flush out the native apex predator. He called it a vital biological acquisition for the war effort. It was a calculated distraction. We drew the fury of the entire jungle while the brass loaded the payload and fled the system. Jax was the first to die. We were moving through the weeping willow swamps when a mess of barbed subterranean vines snatched him into the dark canopy. I heard his reinforced armor crack like brittle glass. I heard the wet, tearing sound that followed. Then Rourke melted. A venom spitter dropped from a colossal fern and dissolved his chest plate in seconds. Rourke did not even have time to scream before his lungs turned to ash. Now it is just me. I have half a charge remaining in my standard pulse rifle and a heavy disruptor cannon slung over my exhausted back. The jungle does not sleep, and it does not forgive. The rain is a relentless assault of acidic water. It hisses constantly against my scorched plasteel armor. Every drop sounds like a warning. The dense canopy above blocks out the twin moons of this miserable planet. The only light comes from the bioluminescent fungi clinging to the rotting trunks of colossal trees. They pulse with a sickly green glow that makes the shadows look like reaching claws. My wrist tracker begins to vibrate with sudden intensity. The signal is strong and growing stronger. The target is incredibly close. Vance wanted the apex predator dead or alive. I just want to kill the thing that slaughtered my team. Maybe its exotic carcass will buy my way onto a rogue smuggler ship when the scavengers eventually arrive to pick over the bones of this world. I push blindly through a dense thicket of razor-sharp ferns. The serrated blades scrape violently against my metal greaves. A swarm of something with too many legs bursts from the rotting foliage to my left. I do not hesitate. I raise the pulse rifle and fire. Searing blue light illuminates the dark jungle. The smell of burnt chitin and boiling sap fills my helmet. The creatures scatter back into the mud. I keep moving. Stopping means dying. The air grows impossibly thick and heavy. It smells sharply of ozone and crushed copper. The scent of ozone means raw, untamed energy. The scent of copper is fresh blood. A low, powerful rumble vibrates through the soles of my heavy boots. It is not the distant thunder of the acidic storm. It comes from deep underground. I reach the crumbling edge of a massive sinkhole. The rocky walls spiral downward into absolute crushing darkness. The tracker indicates the primary signal is coming directly from the bottom. The beast is resting in its subterranean den. I sling the empty pulse rifle across my chest and begin the treacherous descent. The rock is slick with ancient slime and cascading water. I use my armored gauntlets to find precarious handholds in the jagged stone. The descent takes agonizing hours. Every muscle in my body screams in violent protest. The ambient temperature drops rapidly the deeper I go. The hissing rain above is replaced by the hollow echo of dripping water echoing through massive unseen chambers. I finally hit the cavern floor. The silence down here is immense and heavy. It presses painfully against my eardrums. I unholster the heavy disruptor cannon. The weapon hums to life with a deep mechanical growl. The exposed energy cell glows with a lethal sapphire light. This gun fires a concentrated beam of unstable dark matter. It is designed to punch cleanly through dreadnought armor plating. It will turn any biological target into drifting red mist. The cavern tunnels are massive and winding. The walls are completely lined with jagged crystalline formations. They emit a soft, ethereal golden light. The light casts long, twisted shadows that dance across the wet stone. I move with deliberate, lethal caution. My heavy boots make absolutely no sound on the damp floor. I am the ghost they left behind in the mud. I am pure walking vengeance. The narrow tunnel suddenly opens into a vast subterranean chamber. The golden light here is completely blinding. I am forced to squint through my damaged visor to comprehend the sheer scale of the room. At the very center of the chamber is a raised plateau of perfectly polished obsidian. A massive pool of glowing silver liquid surrounds the dark stone plateau. The air is surprisingly warm and smells strongly like sweet alien nectar. The tracker on my wrist vibrates furiously. I silence it with a quick strike of my palm. I raise the heavy disruptor to my shoulder. I aim directly at the center of the obsidian plateau. I expect to see a hulking, grotesque monstrosity. I expect a towering mountain of scales and fangs and endless, mindless rage. The golden light shifts. The target moves. I freeze completely. My finger hovers dangerously over the sensitive trigger. The sight before me shatters every expectation and completely rewrites my understanding of this entire cursed mission. She is not a mindless beast. She sits elegantly atop the obsidian stone throne. She is an entirely breathtaking vision. She possesses exceptional facial symmetry and striking golden eyes that glow with a profound ancient intelligence. Her facial structure is soft yet defined by an inherent undeniable strength. She has healthy, radiant skin, painted with delicate, luminescent silver markings that pulse gently in the dark room. She possesses a naturally balanced hourglass silhouette. Her flawless form is wrapped gracefully in elegant organic armor that looks like woven twilight and starlight. She holds a graceful posture, even while resting heavily on the cold stone. A pair of sleek, expressive feline ears twitch atop her head, catching the microscopic sounds of the cavern. A long, muscular tail sweeps rhythmically and smoothly behind her. She exudes a magnetic aura that completely commands the massive room. She is utterly captivating. She is a completely unforgettable presence. I slowly lower the heavy weapon slightly. My hardened mind struggles violently to process the incredible image. This is the fabled apex predator of Acheron Prime. She is not a monster to be hunted. She is a queen of a hidden world. She turns her head toward the shadows. Her striking, luminous eyes lock directly onto my dark visor. She sees right through the scarred plasteel. She sees the broken, abandoned soldier standing in the dark. She gently tilts her head. A soft, inquisitive sound escapes her perfect lips. It is melodic and entirely alien, but carries a weight of ancient sorrow. Then the golden light catches the dark pool spreading beneath her. A massive puddle of dark crimson blood stains the pristine obsidian. A jagged, heavy piece of human artillery shrapnel is deeply embedded in her right side. She is severely and perhaps fatally injured. She is not resting, she is dying, and she is protecting something behind her. Nestled safely on the stone rests a large cluster of glowing crystalline spheres. They are eggs. The brutal truth hits me like a physical blow to the jaw. Vance did not want a random biological sample. He wanted the royal eggs. He ordered an orbital strike on her ancient nest to cripple her before sending us in to die. Before I can fully react to the sickening revelation, the cavern suddenly echoes with a new synthetic sound. It is the unmistakable mechanical hum of active camouflage grids, disengaging simultaneously. 3 heavy mercenary drop pods detach from the high cavern ceiling above. They had anchored themselves silently in the dark, waiting for the trap to spring. The metal spheres hit the ground with a deafening crash that shakes the glowing crystals. The pressurized hatches blow open in a cloud of freezing vapor. 6 heavily armed human scavengers step out onto the stone. They all wear the dark insignia of the 7th Fleet Elite Guard. Vance did not leave the system. He sent the main fleet away and stayed behind with his personal death squad to claim the ultimate invaluable prize for himself. A towering mercenary clad in heavy siege armor racks the bolt of a massive rotary cannon. He points the spinning barrels directly at the beautiful feline queen. She bravely bares her teeth at the metal giants. It is a terrifying and deeply beautiful display of pure maternal defiance. She tries to stand, but the cruel shrapnel wound forces her violently back down. She wraps her graceful body protectively around the glowing crystalline eggs. The mercenary commander laughs through his external vocal speakers. The sound is harsh, metallic, and endlessly cruel. He spots me standing frozen in the distant shadows. He raises a heavy armored hand to his elite squad. The rotary cannon stops spinning with a high-pitched whine. The commander points a gauntleted finger directly at my chest. He orders me to raise the disruptor and finish the bloody job. He tells me loudly that I can earn a comfortable seat on his private stealth ship. He offers me a golden ticket off this miserable dead world if I just pull the trigger and execute the queen. I look at the towering armored mercenary. I look at the bleeding, beautiful queen on the obsidian altar. Her golden eyes find mine once again. There is absolutely no fear in her captivating gaze. There is only a quiet, ancient dignity and a silent plea. The choice is completely clear. The heavy disruptor cannon rests securely against my shoulder. The massive sapphire energy cell whines as I bypass the safety interlocks. The mercenary commander lowers his hand and waits for the execution. He expects obedience. He expects the broken remnants of the 7th Fleet to follow his absolute authority. I am not broken. I am simply done being a pawn for cowards. I pivot sharply on my right heel. The heavy boots scrape loudly against the wet stone floor. I do not aim for the glowing obsidian altar. I lock the targeting reticle directly onto the chest plate of the towering mercenary commander. The entire movement takes less than a fraction of a second. I pull the sensitive trigger. The heavy disruptor unleashes a concentrated beam of unstable dark matter. The raw energy displacement creates a miniature vacuum in the damp cavern. The concussive shockwave throws me backward a full meter. The brilliant sapphire beam punches completely through the commander. His heavy siege armor offers absolutely zero resistance. The beam vaporizes his torso and continues onward to shatter a massive crystalline pillar behind him. The golden light in the chamber violently flickers and dims as the pillar collapses. The remaining 5 mercenaries stare at the smoking crater where their commander used to stand. The silence lasts for one agonizing heartbeat. Then the cavern explodes into absolute chaos. They raise their weapons and open fire. A storm of crimson plasma bolts illuminates the dark subterranean room. The air instantly smells of burning copper and melted stone. I dive desperately behind a jagged outcropping of obsidian. Plasma fire violently chips away at my sparse cover. Searing chunks of black stone rain down aggressively upon my cracked helmet. I am pinned down. They have superior numbers and heavy artillery. Survival requires immediate, brutal improvisation. I glance toward the center of the room. The stunning feline queen is still alive. She watches the explosive betrayal with wide, glowing eyes. The magnetic aura around her seems to surge with sudden, intense energy. The luminescent silver markings on her flawless skin pulse with a rapid, blinding rhythm. She realizes I have chosen to protect her nest. She realizes I am the only shield standing between her and absolute extinction. A heavy explosive charge detonates dangerously close to my position. The shockwave rattles my teeth and forces a metallic taste into my mouth. I hear the heavy metallic stomping of the elite guards advancing slowly. They are flanking my fragile cover. They operate with ruthless mechanical efficiency. I eject the depleted energy cell from the heavy disruptor and slam a fresh one into the smoking chamber. I have exactly 2 shots left in this weapon. I slide onto my back and kick off the slick stone. I slide dangerously across the wet floor into the open. The maneuver completely catches the advancing squad by surprise. I fire the heavy weapon while still in motion. The first sapphire beam catches a mercenary squarely in the helmet. The resulting blast sends a shockwave that knocks his partner violently to the ground. The cavern echoes with the sound of cracking armor and heavy synthetic groans. 3 elite guards remain. The heavy rotary cannon begins to spin again with a deafening metallic screech. The giant mercenary wielding it locks his sights onto my moving form. I have nowhere left to slide. I have absolutely zero cover. The massive barrel flashes a bright lethal orange. Before the first deadly round can leave the chamber, the glowing pool of silver liquid surrounding the altar violently erupts. A colossal wave of dense silvery fluid rises from the floor. It defies all known laws of gravity and physics. It forms a massive shimmering wall between me and the roaring rotary cannon. Hundreds of heavy kinetic rounds slam directly into the liquid barrier. The liquid absorbs the brutal impact completely. The heavy bullets dissolve into nothingness the moment they strike the shimmering surface. I look toward the altar. The breathtaking queen stands. She ignores the terrible shrapnel wound tearing at her side. Her graceful arms are raised toward the cavern ceiling. Her elegant fingers glow with an intense, blinding white light. She is physically manipulating the environment. The silver pool is not water. It is a highly volatile native element responding directly to her command. She thrusts her hands forward. The massive wall of silver liquid violently collapses forward like a breaking ocean wave. It crashes heavily upon the 3 remaining mercenaries. The dense fluid instantly hardens into solid, indestructible crystal upon contact with their armor. The giant mercenary with the rotary cannon becomes completely entombed in a twisted shell of silver glass. The heavy weapon falls silent. The remaining guards are frozen perfectly in place. The deafening gunfire is replaced by the heavy sound of my own ragged breathing. I slowly rise to my feet. My armor is scorched and violently battered. The emergency klaxons in my helmet scream constant warnings about critical integrity failure. I ignore the flashing red alerts and walk slowly toward the glowing obsidian altar. The queen collapses heavily against the dark stone. The incredible display of raw power has drained her completely. Her breathing is shallow and incredibly fast. The striking silver markings on her skin fade into a dull, sickly gray. I stop directly in front of her. We are close enough that I can see the intricate golden flecks inside her magnificent eyes. She is exceptionally beautiful even in the face of brutal death. She reaches out a trembling, elegant hand. Her long, graceful fingers trace the scorched metal of my heavy chest plate. The touch is surprisingly warm and gentle. It completely contrasts the violent massacre surrounding us. She softly pushes past my ruined armor. She points a slender finger directly at the glowing cluster of crystalline eggs resting safely behind her. She speaks. The sound bypasses my damaged audio receptors completely. Her melodic, ancient voice resonates directly inside my mind. It is a powerful telepathic connection that feels like a warm storm washing over my thoughts. She asks me to take them. She begs me to carry her legacy into the deep jungle where the violent skyships cannot reach. I refuse. I grab the heavy medical supply pack strapped tightly to my thigh. I pull a pressurized canister of military-grade biosealant. It is designed to close massive traumatic wounds on human soldiers. I do not know if it will work on an alien physiology, but I cannot let this magnificent creature bleed out on the cold stone. I violently rip the jagged piece of human shrapnel from her side. She unleashes a piercing melodic scream that vibrates painfully in my skull. I instantly jam the canister nozzle directly into the deep laceration and flood the wound with the thick synthetic foam. The sealant expands rapidly and hardens into a tight protective shell over her damaged flesh. Her heavy breathing slowly begins to stabilize. The golden light returns to her captivating eyes. She looks at me with pure, unadulterated shock. I did not take the prize and run. I chose to save the predator. The heavy synthetic voice of a shipboard computer suddenly echoes through the vast cavern. It comes from the frozen communication pack of the dead mercenary commander. The automated voice coolly announces that orbital bombardment protocols have been initiated. The tactical display shows 20 heavily armed stealth dreadnoughts entering the upper atmosphere of Acheron Prime. Vance did not just send a squad. He sent an entire armada to burn this jungle to the bedrock. We have less than 10 minutes before the subterranean ceiling collapses entirely. The cavern begins to shake violently as the first orbital payloads strike the surface miles above us. Dust and massive chunks of loose stone rain heavily upon the altar. The Queen completely understands the imminent threat. She stands tall. The magnetic aura surrounding her shifts from a warm, inviting presence to a terrifying, crackling energy. She gathers the glowing eggs into a heavy organic satchel woven from dark vines. She slings it securely across her flawless shoulder. She looks at me. The silent command is perfectly clear. We must run into the deepest, darkest depths of Acheron Prime. We must descend into the places where even the acidic rain cannot reach. We sprint wildly toward the jagged back wall of the cavern. The explosive bombardment above grows louder with every passing second. The floor violently shifts and cracks beneath our boots. I follow the mesmerizing sway of her long tail as she completely vanishes into a narrow subterranean fissure. I squeeze my heavy armored frame into the dark crack just as a massive portion of the cavern roof violently caves in. The darkness inside the fissure is absolute. The pursuit has officially begun. We are completely outgunned and totally outmanned. The entire might of the 7th Fleet is hunting us down. The fissure narrows aggressively with every desperate step we take. Jagged rocks tear at my scorched armor and scrape loudly against the dead metal. The ground shakes constantly from the orbital bombardment above. Vance is literally burning the planet to the bedrock to reach us. The crushing weight of the subterranean world presses heavily against my shoulders. The air grows incredibly thin and tastes like sulfur and ancient dust. We push through the claustrophobic darkness for hours. The mesmerizing feline queen leads the way. Her natural grace is completely unaffected by the treacherous terrain. She moves fluidly over razor-sharp stones and bottomless chasms. Even covered in dust and bleeding from her sealed wound, she remains a breathtaking vision of perfect elegance. Her sleek silhouette glides through the shadows like a ghost. I struggle violently to keep pace. My lungs burn and my damaged heavy boots drag across the jagged floor. The narrow passage suddenly erupts into a massive underground cavern. It is not like the golden crystal chamber we left behind. This place is an ancient subterranean ocean. The dark water stretches endlessly into absolute pitch black. The cavern ceiling is entirely lost in the oppressive darkness. We are completely trapped. There is no other exit. The dark water laps violently against the rocky shore. The earth shakes with a sudden localized intensity. It is not the orbital bombardment. It is something digging. The cavern wall behind us explodes in a shower of pulverized stone and screaming metal. 3 heavy siege mechs smash through the rock face. They are colossal walking tanks equipped with heavy mining lasers and rapid-fire plasma cannons. Their massive floodlights cut through the darkness and pin us against the dark water. The blinding white light washes over the beautiful alien queen. She stands tall and defiant at the edge of the subterranean ocean. A heavy mech steps forward. Its external speakers crackle to life. Vance speaks through the machine. His voice is saturated with arrogant triumph. He tells me I chose the wrong side. He tells me my death will be completely agonizing. The massive plasma cannons begin to charge. They glow with a lethal, blinding heat. I step in front of the elegant queen. I raise my heavy disruptor. I have exactly 1 shot left. I aim at the central cockpit of the lead mech. I pull the trigger. The sapphire beam strikes the heavy energy shield of the war machine. The shield flares violently but holds. The shot does absolutely nothing. The heavy mech unleashes a barrage of searing plasma. The sheer force of the impact throws me violently through the air. I slam brutally against the jagged cavern wall. Searing pain rips through my chest and legs. My tactical display goes completely black. My life support systems scream in critical failure. I collapse onto the wet stones. I cannot move my arms. I am bleeding out into the cold, dark water. I watch helplessly as the 3 heavy mechs advance toward the radiant alien queen. They raise their weapons to execute her and claim the glowing eggs resting by her feet. The beautiful feline entity does not flinch. She gently places the organic satchel containing her offspring onto the wet ground. She closes her striking golden eyes. The air in the massive cavern instantly drops below freezing. The dark water stops moving entirely. The relentless noise of the massive mechs is suddenly swallowed by a deep, suffocating silence. Then she opens her eyes. They do not just glow. They ignite with the blinding intensity of a newborn star. The luminescent silver markings on her flawless skin flare with absolute terrifying brilliance. She is no longer just a queen. She is the living avatar of Acheron Prime. Her metamorphosis is deeply awe-inspiring and visually magnificent. Spectral wings of pure, concentrated starlight erupt violently from her back. They stretch across the massive cavern and illuminate the darkness with a beautiful, blinding, celestial light. Her elegant form ascends slowly into the air. She remains aesthetically flawless and harmoniously beautiful, but her presence is now completely godlike. The magnetic aura around her becomes a crushing physical weight. Vance screams an order to fire. The mechs unleash everything they have. The alien goddess raises a single elegant hand. The heavy plasma bolts freeze completely in midair. The massive kinetic rounds stop dead. She exerts absolute dominion over the physical laws of this world. She closes her delicate fist. The frozen artillery reverses direction with impossible speed. The heavy mechs are instantly shredded by their own firepower. But she is not finished. She is furious. She throws both hands downward toward the subterranean ocean. The dark water violently surges upward and transforms into towering spikes of solid black ice. The massive crystalline pillars pierce straight through the ruined mechs and obliterate them entirely. The violent display of raw planetary power does not stop there. She looks upward toward the distant surface. She lets out a soundless scream that vibrates directly into the marrow of my bones. The entire planet responds. The rock walls around us pulse with pure silver energy. Through my failing vision, I watch the cavern ceiling turn completely transparent. The sheer force of her will connects the deep core of the world to the sky above. Massive jagged spears of raw geological energy shoot upward from the planet's surface. They pierce the thick toxic clouds. They strike the 20 stealth dreadnoughts in high orbit. The invincible warships are violently ripped from the sky. They detonate in massive silent fireballs that paint the atmosphere in burning orange. She has completely obliterated the 7th Fleet. The apex predator has wiped the sky clean. The celestial light slowly fades. The spectral wings dissolve into gentle falling sparks. The goddess descends gracefully back to the wet stones. The terrifying display of infinite power is over. She is just the beautiful feline queen once more. She walks slowly over to my broken body. My breathing is a wet, shallow rattle. I am seconds away from total systemic failure. She kneels beside me. Her exquisite face is filled with profound ancient sorrow and a deep, undeniable gratitude. She traces my ruined chest plate with her graceful, glowing fingers. She leans down close to my helmet. She bypasses the shattered visor completely. Her soft, radiant lips gently touch my cold face. A surge of pure, warm silver energy violently enters my dying veins. The searing pain instantly vanishes. The failing organs in my chest begin to rapidly knit themselves back together with an alien vitality. I take a massive, gasping breath. The air no longer tastes like sulfur and ash. It tastes sweet and vibrant. She looks deeply into my eyes. The telepathic connection washes over my mind like a warm, gentle ocean. She tells me I am no longer a soldier of a dead fleet. I am the chosen guardian of her sacred nest. I slowly rise to my feet. I shed the heavy, broken pieces of my human armor. They fall uselessly to the wet stone. I look at the breathtaking alien queen. I look at the glowing eggs resting safely on the ground. I am forever changed. I am willingly bound to a terrifying and completely beautiful new reality. I belong to Acheron Prime.